Seriously, don't give birth to the child of a man you broke up with or something. Oh, maybe you couldn't forget about me. Did you think that if you had a child, it might somehow keep us connected or something? Hey, tell me, what's the deal? It's just ridiculous. Looking back, breaking up was absolutely the right move. If I'd stayed with such a dreamer, I wouldn't have the happiness I have now. Today, I want to share this unforgettable dark chapter of my past and the rebellion that followed. My name is Aubrey. I am a 53-year-old housewife who takes pleasure in watching news programs in the morning and proceeding with household chores in a leisurely manner. Back then, I was 38, living peacefully with my husband Theo. That was the case, but around that time, a bit of unrest started to seep into our home. Theo started responding to what I said with stuff like "is that so?" or "and," in a way that seemed dismissive or indifferent. When I tried to continue the conversation with "so, you see," he'd cut me off with "I'm busy, okay?" It felt like I was being brushed off. It's not like he was always like that. If anything, he used to love chatting and would crack jokes whenever he had a moment, just to make me laugh. But then, this sudden change happened. Since it was so abrupt, I wondered if I'd done something wrong, but couldn't think of anything specific. Then, one day, I found a faint lipstick mark on the back of a shirt Theo had sent to the laundry. The day he wore that shirt was when he came home late saying he had to work overtime. Considering Theo works in a male-dominated workplace, it's hard to imagine someone leaning against him with lipstick on. If there was someone like that, it's too scary to even think about. Could it be another woman? I naturally came to that conclusion, but a lipstick stain alone is hard to call evidence. There are countless excuses one could make, like bumping into someone by accident. So, I decided to wait a bit longer and gather more evidence, carefully watching for any unusual behavior from Theo. Ironically, just by paying a little more attention, I started finding evidence of infidelity left and right. For instance, Theo would always get up to use the bathroom around 2 a.m. when he was supposedly sleeping. I had never doubted him before, but it turns out he was using that time to make phone calls to a woman. There were also times when I found long hairs inside his suit. And upon closer inspection, his handkerchief seemed to have been used to wipe off something that looked like lipstick. The most damning piece of evidence was a lipstick that came out of Theo's car when I borrowed it after a long time. If Theo had been using colored lip balm, it'd be one thing, but this seemed like irrefutable evidence. After 10 years of marriage, the frustration of having my husband stolen by a woman who was just a drop in the bucket, and the pure loneliness of not wanting to be alone, and the love I have for him came back to me. Really, is there no chance for a do-over? Isn't there something I can do to make him look my way again? Just as I was wondering if there was anything I could do to restore what had once cooled off, my suspicions about my pregnancy became clear. It's a gift from God to be pregnant at this timing, goes without saying. We don't have any children. Could the monotony of our relationship be the cause of Theo's affair? Then, maybe this pregnancy will change things. With that hope, I brought up the pregnancy to Theo. But then, give me a break, that's too much hassle. Let's just break up. I couldn't believe my ears. Well, looking back, I think I was too naive about the whole thing. The chances of a man who's cheated coming back are pretty slim. Life isn't like one of those soap operas where things neatly fall into place. But I believed at the time that since we loved each other and got married, we would be able to get back together. Is that really how you're going to talk? It's your child too. A child is better off without a father like me. You've realized that too, haven't you? Seeing my husband smirk made my heart leap. That I'd been cheating. Pretending not to know my husband was cheating and planning to return to a normal relationship because of the pregnancy felt like being pushed off a cliff. I thought that if the affair came to light, it would create tension and drive my husband further away. But that was a misjudgment. I wanted you to find out, did everything to make it obvious, but you never said a thing. I got tired of waiting. What? Cheating is unacceptable. Divorce me. I've been waiting for you to tell me to get a divorce. Don't make me go through all that trouble. You're kidding, right? I wouldn't bother with such a hassle for a lie. I've got a cute 24-year-old girlfriend now. A 38-year-old, about to get fat from pregnancy. I don't need you anymore. After saying this, if you're as big as a pear, you're no use to me. Then, my husband added an obvious fatherly gag and laughed by himself. Not funny at all. Here, take this as alimony or whatever, just sign it, will you? He was holding out divorce papers. After that, I cried for 3 days and nights, and finally signed the divorce papers once I realized he wasn't coming home anymore. 5 years later, I was afraid of growing old alone, but luckily, I remarried my childhood friend Jordan, also a divorcee, and we lived modestly with my child. Jordan had gone through a messy divorce himself after his wife cheated on him. We were comrades in arms, sharing the same pain, which made living with him very comfortable. For our anniversary each year, he'd book a fancy restaurant, and for my birthday, he'd give me slightly extravagant gifts. I felt truly cherished. I wish these days would last forever, as we celebrated another anniversary. It was supposed to be a lovely dinner at our usual fancy restaurant. Well, if it isn't Aubrey. The one who grimaced upon seeing me was my ex-husband. What? Why are you here? My disgust must have shown on my face. What a tragedy. I had just happened to run into my ex-husband coming out of the restroom. What? I'm here on business. Unlike you, I'm busy, you know, My ex-husband glanced behind me, walked over briskly. Hey. So, you gave birth to a child with me, did you? That's kinda gross. With that, my ex-husband pulls up the child's hand and starts saying outrageous things while looking at him seriously. Seriously, don't give birth to the child of a man you broke up with or something. Oh, maybe you couldn't forget about me. Did you think that if you had a child, it might somehow keep us connected or something? Hey, tell me, what's the deal? Smirking, he seemed to take great pleasure in spinning child around. The child's face twisted in distress and he screamed, "Why? Daddy, Mommy, help, some stranger is taking me." There, I'm your daddy. Your mommy's right there. You're just as silly as her. It was just when my ex had blurted that out, a man over 6'3" appeared and grabbed my ex-husband's arm firmly. "This child is mine, you know." My ex, looking confused, almost made me burst out laughing. Dumb. Is this guy Aubrey's new husband? I'm responding nothing to my ex's question. I don't know what you've been saying, but you don't think you can make my son cry and get away with it, do you? The tall man glared at him. Glancing at a tattoo peeking out from his sleeve, my ex's face turned pale. No, I mean, hey Aubrey, stop your husband. Huh. That woman is not my wife. Way. My ex-husband looked confused again, glancing back and forth between me, the man, and the screaming child. Huh. Way. Then who is this kid? Before he knew it, my ex-husband was restrained by the man. Suspicious person repeatedly saying crazy things. Someone called a staff. Someone is harming children. The man's shout stirred up the restaurant. I thought to myself, oh no, it's our important wedding anniversary, but now it's a ridiculous day, and I chuckled. It turned out to be a good day, albeit accidentally. Waiter. Over here. I saw this man forcefully grabbing a child's arm. My words left my ex-husband gaping. Wait, Aubrey. What's going on? Seriously, I don't get it. I responded to my frantically yelling ex-husband. I am not that man's wife, and that child is not my child. Much less, it's not your child. But he was right behind you. You were blocking the restroom entrance, so the child couldn't get in. He was just following his dad into the restroom, and you got in the way. Seriously, you might want to make someone the laughing stock, but don't jump to conclusions so fast. Maybe look around a bit more. Shut up. I don't have to listen to that from you. Right, my kind words wouldn't reach a suspicious person, would they? I'm not a suspicious person. Oh please, any man who grabs a stranger's child and uses baby talk like I'm your daddy is definitely suspicious. So that was. And then you say to the woman in front of you, your mommy's right there, isn't she? You still think we're married. Smirking at him, my ex-husband turned beet red and shouted, don't mess with me. However, the louder his voice, the tighter the nearby man gripped his hold. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Hey. Man. Back off. I'm innocent. What innocence? You definitely made our son cry, didn't you? That's just a misunderstanding. Quickly, I added, you misunderstood and assaulted someone else's son. That's a fact. Then, my ex-husband glared at me, said you. Yikes, I've been glared at by a suspicious person. How scary. Although I said it mockingly, it seemed to really get under his skin as my ex-husband started to struggle to break free from the man's grip. Thinking you're still married to me. Oh, could it be you haven't gotten over me? I purposely echoed what my ex-husband had earlier accused me of. Predictably, my ex-husband got angry, and sensing danger, the man then pinned him to the floor. Thinking you could get away from me, that's huge mistake. The man's attempted intimidation, combined with his tattoos, genuinely looked scary. My ex must have fought. Today might just be the end of me. Hey Aubrey. Tell them too. It's a misunderstanding. So, pulling on a stranger's child isn't a misunderstanding, is it? I thought it was my kid. As my ex-husband became almost tearful, I burst out laughing. Claiming my kid when you've neither acknowledged nor paid child support. Did I ever discuss acknowledgement or child support with you after our divorce? No. But you knew I wouldn't acknowledge it, so you didn't contact me, right? Idiot. Why would I do such a stupid thing when I'm raising a child alone? Acknowledge. I'll chase you down until you pay. Then why? That time, the pregnancy test was wrong. I went to the OB/GYN, and it turned out I wasn't pregnant. That's when I decided to sign the divorce papers. Yes, during those 3 days when the divorce topic came up and my husband stopped coming home, I did spend them crying is true. But, despite having a child, I couldn't just divorce without understanding why, so I first went to the OB/GYN. Even if I were to divorce, I wanted to sort out things, like alimony, child support, and future living expenses in my head. I even thought I'd endure it if not divorcing would benefit my child. However, at the OB/GYN, not only was there no sign of pregnancy, but a tumor was found on my ovary. During surgery for that, by chance, my current husband's mother was in the same hospital room. I knew my husband and his parents from childhood. Reuniting with my husband during his visit, we became close again. I once thought this pregnancy timing was a gift from God, as a blessing to make it work with my husband. However, in reality, it led me to someone who made me think it was right to leave my ex, and also allowed for the early detection of my illness. And, last year, despite having one ovary removed, I had a child with my current husband. It might seem like a series of misfortunes, but for me, it was all for the best. Learning everything, my ex's face turned pale as he muttered, "You're lying. I was dumped by that woman." Needless to say, I laughed at that. Well, young girls won't bother with an aging guy like him, right? Then, a police officer appeared. Seems like the restaurant staff called them. My ex received a stern warning from the police. It seems the misunderstanding was cleared up, and he apologized sincerely to that child's family, so it didn't escalate. Whether being scolded by the police really hit him hard, he even apologized to me. Since my ex doesn't know where I live now, he actually visited my parents' house to convey his apologies, admitting I was wrong to have ended things so poorly. As he aged, was dumped by his affair partner, and found no one else to care for him, he seemed to have felt a profound loneliness after this whole ordeal. Well, it's not like I care much about his apologies now. I continue to ignore my ex. Honestly, if I hadn't run into him there, I'd have hardly ever thought of him anymore. By the way, my current husband, noticing I hadn't returned to our table, had come to the restroom to fetch me. However, he said he thought this might be Aubrey's first and last chance for payback, and decided to watch from the shadows. Of course, I was ready to jump in if anything happened, but the guy restraining him was so strong. Oh, that man apparently grew up abroad, and was a captain of an American football team in abroad. That's why he is strong. No need for me to step in. I was pretty scared, thought he was from some dangerous profession. Laughing, my husband made me laugh too. Normally I would have said, "That's not very manly of you," but my husband didn't need to get involved with my ex-husband, and I thought it was a problem I should properly solve on my own. When the divorce, I realized I lacked strength. For what it's worth, my only action at the time was to divorce my ex-husband as he asked me to, and get about standard alimony from him and the person he cheated on me with. Reality isn't like a fairy tale where you can demand an exorbitant settlement. I just didn't have the energy to fight back. But, being able to speak my mind to my ex with unwavering determination at the end, I think I truly became strong. Now I can proudly face my husband and my child. This year's anniversary turned into a day of new beginnings for me. And now, my husband, a first-class architect, has become a freelancer, and with our income now doubled, I have quit my part-time job and am enjoying being a laid-back, full-time housewife. My husband and I keep it a secret that our somewhat rebellious daughter complains when we tell her to do something, but when we don't tell her, she quietly helps us out. Since it was an old-age birth, I have only one child, a daughter, but it is too busy with 3 people and 2 doggies. Despite not having children with my ex and having only 1 ovary, I was able to get pregnant and give birth at an older age with my current husband. In a way, I think this is also fate. As a child, I secretly dreamed of marrying my special someone destined just for me. To think I'd fulfill that dream through remarriage. Kind of dreamy, isn't it? With these farts, I cherish the everyday happiness that comes so naturally, yet isn't so ordinary after all.